Hi everybody, my dear grade 8th student. Welcome back again with a new business studies lesson. Today we are going to start with chapter 24, page 299. It is talking about the government economic objectives and policies. Let's start the lesson, guys. Okay, let's do it. Just open the We here are talking about the government economic objectives and policies. But before we start, let's have a small introduction about the topics that talks about the government and economic objectives. All governments have economic objectives. They try to achieve their objectives by introducing or changing policies. These policies affect government spending and interest rates, as well as taxations in the countries, which in turn affects business. In this chapter, you will look at how government controls over the economy affects business activities. Businesses are affected differently depending on the product or service they are selling, the industry they are in, and the size of the business. They are also affected by the economic environment of the country. Let's take an overview about the learning objective to this chapter. I hope in this chapter we are going to learn the economic objectives of any government, the main stages of business cycle, how changes in the tax, government spending, and interest rate affects business activities, and finally, how businesses respond to these changes. Let's start, guys. Let's go. Okay. How government control over the economy affects the business activities. There are 4 economic objectives of the government. But before to define the 4, let's have a look about the balance of payments. What does it mean, the balance of payment? The balance of payment is the difference between the value of the export and import of goods and services over the country, over the years, all over the years. So, it's shortly the difference between the value of export and import of goods and services of a country over a year. Okay? How far we are going to say that? A positive balance of payment. A positive balance of payment. The balance of a country is a positive when the value of export is greater than the value of imports. This is called a balance of payment. The goods and services sold by one country to other countries in return for foreign currency are exports. The goods and services bought by a country from other countries is import. So we have 2 things, an export and an import. The difference between those is called balance of payment. This is the first definition we should know, the difference between export and import. Also, we have something called low inflation. What do you mean by inflation? The inflation is the price, just the price is increased. The price of the goods and services is just increased. Why? We are going to know later. And there is another thing, it's called a level of unemployment. What do you mean by employment? It's simply someone is looking for a job and he hasn't find any job. So this man is called unemployment. The percentage of or the number of the persons who can work and doesn't have any work, this is called unemployment. Its effects very bad on any country economy. We will talk about in details later. And there is something called GDP. What do you mean by GDP? The GDP is a gross domestic products. This is mean that the value of all the goods and services produced by a country in a year, all these products and all these services produced by the country all over the year, it's called GDP. It is the GDP. Okay. This is four concepts we are going to talk about this lesson: the balance of payment, the inflation, level of unemployment, and gross domestic products GDP. Okay, let's start, guys. Okay. Here we have a positive balance of payment. What do you mean by the difference between the value and export and import goods of services of a country over the year? And we say that the inflation also is called the price increase of goods and services at the time. When inflation is low, people enjoy a better standard of living as they can afford to pay for goods and services. They can also afford to pay for non-essential luxury items. It becomes easier for companies to set up new ventures and expand, which means that all the sectors of the economy benefits. If inflation increased, however, people may not be able to afford to buy a local goods and instead might buy foreign goods, which may be cheaper. This can affect local business in a country as they receive fewer sales. How about the low unemployment? All government want their country to have a low level of unemployment. Why? Because a government wants as many people have a job as possible as they are. They contribute the total output of the country and improve economic growth. The people of the country can earn money and have better standard of living. The government does not have to spend money on unemployment benefits, so can spend the money on improving the country's infrastructure. And finally, the higher of the level of employment, the more income tax government receives. And finally, we are going to talk about the GDP, and also we saw that the GDP is the value of all goods and services produced by a country over the year. Okay, let's have the first activity, 24.1 at page 301. It is talk about the country X economy remains in the recessions. Okay, this is you will find it in page 301, and you will see here that the country X economy remains recession. A country X economy has been recession since late 2008, and it's unlikely to return growth before 2014. The unemployment rate has hit an all-time high of 27%. Although inflation has remained steady, GDP growth rate has massively declined. The government has tried to encourage growth and investment by keeping interest rates at 0.5%. It has put together a committee for economic and financial experts to recommend further measures to improve economic growth. The first question is about these activities is talking about to make a list of economic indicators that reflects a state of the economy of the country. What is he asking you at the first question, what is the economic indicators that he is mentioned in the example? There is 4 indicators. The first one, he said that the employment rates has hit an all the time about 27%. This is the first indicators. The second, inflation has remained steady. Okay. 3, the GDP growth rates had massively declined. 4, keeping interest rates at the government is looking for keeping the interest rate at 0.5%. This is the 4 economy indicators that mentioned in the activity 24.1. The second question is, what measures has the government of country X taking to help the economy? The answer is the government has tried to encourage growth and investment by keeping the interest rate at 0.5%. It has put together a committee also. The second procedure it has been taken, that the government it has put together a committee of economic and financial experts to recommend further measures to improve the economy. So they are trying hard to improve the economy by keeping the interest rate at 0.5. Do not raise. The third question is, what is the main economic objective of country X? So I will ask you, grade 8, why the government is taking procedures? Because there is one goal or one objective. It is to improve, it's back again, to improve the economic growth. To improve the economic growth. They want to improve the situation, the economic situation, to improve the economic growth. This is the main objective of the country X. The fourth question is, what problems might business in country X face in a recession? They could face many problems. High unemployment, for example, I just write here that for an example, high unemployment means reducing demands of the goods and services. Reducing means that the business will mainly stop. GDP growth rate massively decline means that more employees will lose their jobs. The value of the goods and services production will decline. So many things, bad things will affect the economy when the country X will face a recession. Okay. This is all the answers of the activity 24.1. Let's go to the page 302. If you are all opening your book, I hope you are following me by opening your book, please. We are talking now about the business cycle. What do you mean by business cycle? The business cycle, there we have 4 stages of business cycle. The first one is the growth, as we can see here, the growth. The second is the boom. What do you mean by boom? We will see now. And recession and slump. 4 stages of the business cycle. Okay. The first one is the growth. The growth is the stage when the economy recovers or grows. It has the following key characteristics. First, a positive outlook for a new business. Second, existing businesses grow and make profits. Third, a growing economic activity, so we are looking to raise the GDP. And fourth, unemployment will be decreased. This is the 4 characteristics it could be found to the growth. It is the first 4 main stages related to the business cycle. Let's go to the boom. The boom is the stage, is the peak of the business cycle, as we see here. This is the boom. This is the boom. It is the peak of the business cycle, and it has so many characteristics. Like the first one, business investment and the profits are at their highest level. Second, most sectors of the economy are performing at their best. High levels of demands for goods and services causing prices to rise, inflation, very low unemployment rates, and people have better jobs to choose from. This leads to increased wages cost for business as well as shortage of skilled people. So, too much spending and high borrowing costs during this stage may be risky for a business. If the economy outlook looks poor, the economy may go into decline. Okay? So we have this cycle. This is the boom, the highest, then recession here, as we see recession here, like that, and this is the slump. So no increase, no decrease, slump, and here we see again the growth. We hope all our economy to growth. Let's go to the next slide here. It's talking about the boom, as we see here, the boom, the highest one, and we say that the boom, it has reached the peak of the business cycle. The boom. The recession, as we see here, this is the recession. This is the recession stage. The recession, this when economy shrinks in size. This is when the economy shrinks in size. Its key characteristics are business confidence falls, leading to less investment in a new and existing business. 2, decline in economic activity until it reach a minimum or slump. 3, falling demand by consumers leads to falling profits. 4, unemployment raises as a business are not doing well and have to cut costs. Workers are made redundant and some business even close. Okay. Let's go directly to the case study in page 303. Case study in page 303. As we see here, draw, or the figure here, it shows the unemployment rates in Egypt. It shows. Let's have a bigger now. It is show the unemployment rates in Egypt combined with the effects of the global recession in 2008-2009, the Egyptian revolution that started in January 2011 has led to many economic challenges. Since then, the Egyptian economy has seen decline GDP, rise in the unemployment rate, and widening gap in the balance of payment. The economy is said to be recession, as we see here. So the revolutions that happened in 2011 in Egypt, unfortunately, make the economy go to recession. How far, we will see now. Let's read the questions. Let's read the questions here. The first question is, what percentage of Egypt's labor force was unemployed in January 2010? Let's come here. As we see in January 2010, this is the point we are going to measure. We see here, if we take just a straight line, by doing this, I will take straight line. I see that the percentage will be 9.5. If we take a point across through this line and this line, we will see that it reached 9.5 percentage. So the employment percentage reached in January 2010 9.5. So this will be the answer. Let's get back again. So the first answer is 9.5. The second question, what percentage of Egypt's labor force was unemployed in January 2013? Let's get back again. This is 2013 in January. Let's take a straight line like that. I am not good in drawing, actually. You will find it will reach 13 percentage. So it raised, massively raised, from 9.5 to 13. In 9.5 in January 2010 to 13, percentage of 13 in January 2013. It's raised massively, unfortunately. Let's get back again to our slides. So the answer of the second question related to the case study, page 303, is the second question P is 13, percentage of 13. And the question of C, what has been the percentage increase in the unemployment rate since the January 2010? It's very simple, just 13 minus 9.5, 13 related to 2013, the year of 2013, minus 9.5, this is the percentage of the 2010 in January. The answer will be, let's take another color, 3.5 percentage. This is the difference between the 2 years, or the mid-range of these years, 3.5. It's a very high percentage, actually. Let's talk about the question of D or 4. What are the other characteristics of economy that is in recession? If you want, I am not write here the answers, because if you want the answer of the characteristics of the recession, let's go again to our slides. You will find more than one answer. You will find more than one answer here. Okay? Let's get back again to as you see here, when we talk about the recession, here, one of those characteristics can be written in this question. One of those. Maybe you will write business confidence falls, leading to less investment in new and existing business. Maybe you will write plain in economic activity until it's reaches a minimum slump. Maybe you can write falling demand by consumers leads to falling profit. So any of these 4 answers or characteristics could be written here. Could be written here in the question of D, or the 4th question. The final question is D. D is telling you, how do you think the political instability caused the Egyptian revolution in January 2011 affected of the economy and the business in Egypt? Okay, the political instability caused maybe by war, maybe by disaster, maybe by revolution, stop all the business activities. It's like import, export, trading, all the business activities, and it has surely affected the economy in many ways. You can talk about. Let's discuss this thing in the next lesson. I hope. Finally, I hope this lesson was very useful to you. Don't hesitate to ask any questions through the Edmondo website or our website, and I hope we will meet in the next lesson. Thank you all, and good luck, my dear student. Thank you again.